Way to go, Johnny. Bryan in Texas, you're up.
Hey, Amberly, how are you?
Hey, Bryan from Texas, my brother
Yes,
from another
ma'am.
mother.
Yes, ma'am. So, incredible story. Thank you so much for sharing. It really was emotional for me because that's what I did for 15 years was a reconstructive salvage surgeon. So I can say that what you went through is it's a miracle, honestly, that you were able to do that. And I wanted you to speak a little bit more to, if you don't mind. I was a professional distance runner, a sponsored athlete for a while, and I want you to talk about how not only your physical fitness prior to the injury, but the mental that goes into being a professional athlete, and how much do you think? Because I personally think that had to have been the biggest contributor to your resilience and ability to get through this was not just your physical baseline, but that mental baseline.
Oh my goodness, yes, Bryan. Thank you for all that you do, and thank you for your kind words. And yeah, I think that being an athlete, in fact, when I woke up out of a coma, the one of the doctors, Dr. Razul, comes over and he leans over me and he says, "Hey, this is between you and me, but do you have a drug problem?" And I said, "No, sir, I don't." I said, "I never even taken aspirin." And he said, "Well, are you an athlete?" And I was kind of like, "Can you not tell I'm an athlete? Come on now." And he said, "We had a hard time keeping you knocked out." He goes, "You must have so many endorphins in your system. We had a real hard time keeping you in a coma." And I think that being an athlete, growing up in Texas with a tough as nails coach and a drill sergeant dance instructor that taught me things like, we'd be throwing up on the track and she'd be like off the track to throw up and then keep running. My dance instructor, I'd have like bloody toes in my point shoes, and she'd be like, "Hey, look, the show must go on. Do you want your understudy to do it for you? You're going to keep going." And so I learned a lot of mental toughness, and I also learned how it made me feel when I would win in track. And I got us to district, and I set a record in Texas for running the fastest mile, like what that made me feel like. And so I would just focus on one day at a time, 1% at a time, getting a little bit better, doing a little bit more, building that mental and physical toughness. And I really think that all the challenges that we go through, like that prepares us and makes us stronger and grittier and more resilient. And so the next time you're going through something and it's tough, I want you to think about, well, what's the toughest thing you've ever overcome? And you made it through that. And if you made it through that, you'll get through the next thing and the next thing and the next thing.
For sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Amberly, I want to be